Nirmala Rawat. Welcome you to my YouTube channel. I am about to finish the book. Moving on. In previous part, we saw that Anasuya, along with her family and Ajit, went to meet Soma and were disheartened and sad to know about Soma's death. Anasuya's mother understands the ascetic whom they had just met was Hanumanji, who came to bless us, and explained so to Anasuya and Ajit. Continuing, Ajit was deeply touched by what he heard, but I was still suffering from the news of Soma's departure. I must go to her hut, I mumbled, as I hurried down the path, leaving the two of them to reflect on the blessing we had all received. Once inside the hut, I sank down on the cushion that Soma used for her meditation. I only just found you, and now you are gone, I murmured in a choked voice. I was hoping you could help me to remember just one moment when I was with Mata. A short time later, Ajit entered and found me seated. Feeling the pain in my heart, he sat quietly beside me and asked in a gentle voice, "She meant a lot to you, didn't she?" "I can't explain my feelings," I replied quietly, and then added, "She told me something about my past, and I wanted to learn more." An awkward silence followed, and he asked, "Did I tell you the story about when Maharaja Ram came to our home and blessed me?" I looked up at him, surprised by his words. "He blessed you?" Ajit nodded and started the story. Toward the end of his stay on earth, our Maharaja was visiting many of the homes, meeting the children. I suspect he was seeing to the future of Ayodhya. He came to see my father and asked to meet his children. We were 3 boys. My father presented us and he looked at us. He took me aside and looked at me for what seemed like a long time. Then he said to my father, "This child of yours must go into administration. He will look after the forests. He has great love for the animals, and I trust that he will care for their welfare." He added, "Sita would be happy about that." I don't remember those words, but my father has recounted this story to me many times, as if he wanted to etch it into my memory forever. He was quiet. After a few minutes, he began again in a reflective voice. "I don't remember much about our Maharaja, as this was my only meeting with him, but I do remember his eyes. They were unlike any eyes I have ever seen. He blessed all of us that day. And then he said to me, 'The animals will always befriend you. Never have any fear of them.' Turning to my father, he told him that when he and Rajkumari Sita were traveling through the forest during their exile, Rajkumari Sita had no fear of any animal, and the animals often guided them to where they needed to go. After this, my father used to take me frequently into the forests so that I would gain love for all the life there. But I already had this love. I think I was born with it." As I listened intently to him, his words soothed my sorrow. As I was later to learn, this was Ajit's way of chasing away any sadness that would come over me. All he had to do was turn the conversation to Mata or Shri Ram, and a subtle joy would enter my heart. "I think I was not meant to meet Soma again," I said. "Perhaps she told me everything I needed to know, and perhaps it is better not to return to the past." "The past has given us the present," replied Ajit with a smile. "Whatever knowledge we gained in the past is somewhere locked in our memory. We should only look ahead of us, Anasuya. I believe that is what Shri Ram was doing when he visited our homes. He was sowing seeds for the future. What is to come will be his creation, his and Mata Sita's. I never want to forget that, I replied quietly. We must pledge not to let each other forget. This will be our vow to one another. I lived many happy years with my husband in Ayodhya. We watched the kingdom grow and flourish under the guidance of Maharajas Love and Kush. For the most part, there was peace between humans and animals. One day, years later, I had the impulse to share with Ajit what Soma had revealed. By now, we were both in our middle years. Do you remember after we first met, we went to try to see Soma, the aged attendant of Mata? I asked him. How could I forget that day? A certain bond formed between us as we were seated in Soma's hut. Do you remember that? He replied with a smile. I nodded. The last words Soma spoke to me were about our past. Our past? He inquired. Again I nodded. She told me that I had been a servant in household of Maharaja Janak and came with Mata from Mithila after her marriage. She told me that you had also served in the household caring for the animals and that Mata was very fond of you because of your love for all the creatures. I saw the look of surprise on his face as I continued. Then she told me that when we were young, serving in that household, you had wanted to marry me, but that my father had forbidden it. He insisted I never marry, so I never did. Because of that, I was able to follow Mata to Ayodhya. Then she told me that you and I should marry because it was Mata's desire. Jai Shri Ram. At times, don't you have this curiosity to know about your past? I do. Let me know your comments. Have a great day. Jai Shri Ram.